Hello everyone. I just said I'd jump on and do another live. I've been doing some posts this morning and I've been chatting with some people, and I thought I'd just do a little bit of a post about the retrogrades. So I've just done a little one about it, but I just thought I'd go into a little bit more detail. So I personally have had, I literally have had so much frustration over the last couple of weeks. And of course, like, I'm so good at looking at everybody else's stuff that sometimes I don't always look at my own. I do look at my own a lot, but I don't always look at my own. And somebody reminded me the other day that, like, there's loads of planets in retrograde, and I was like, oh yeah, like the astrologer, you know, all the astrology that I do, it's not predictive astrology, and I tend to not always keep an eye on, you know, what's happening in the current astrology. I'm a lot more focused on kind of like people's astrology and them in their life and who they are now, who they are supposed to be, the path that they're meant to be on. And yes, I do look at other transits, but I don't kind of always keep up with everything. But I was laughing because I was like, oh my God, this is so frustrating. Like, everything in life is so frustrating. And yeah, somebody else said to me, like, oh yeah, you know, all the planets are in retrograde. And I was like, yeah, okay, that'll be it. So I'm here to talk about this, okay? So what does that actually mean? So essentially, when we're looking at astrology, we're looking at all the planets, we're looking at where they are in the sky at the moment, and we're also looking at the effect that they have on us down here on Earth. When we're born, we have what's called our natal chart. So our natal chart is like a snapshot of all the planets, where they were in the sky the moment that you were born. So it's like a static photograph, okay? And that's your map and your blueprint of who you are, why you're here, what you're meant to be doing, your challenges and the whole lot. That's you statically, as such, as you move through life. Mercury retrograde, my communication's all over the place. So that's you in a snapshot, okay? But the planets don't stop moving. They continue to keep moving round and round. And so the planets, as they're moving in transit, have an effect on your birth chart and all the planets in it. And essentially, kind of just to simplify it, what we're looking at here today is the retrogrades. So retrogrades are essentially where a planet appears to start moving backwards. So the planets are moving around and around and around all the time. And from Earth's perspective, every now and again throughout the year, they'll just appear to kind of slow down and move backwards. They're not physically actually stopping and moving backwards, but from our perspective, that's what it kind of looks like. So what does that actually mean, Deborah? That means that the themes that are connected to that planet, which I'll discuss now in a moment, the themes that are connected to it appear to and feel as though they slow down. So imagine a big ass ship cruising forward at full speed, and then suddenly it comes to a grinding halt. And what happens is, it doesn't just come to a halt and stop. It's going to come to a halt. It's going to slow down and pull the weight of that behind it. So it intensifies. The weight of it intensifies. It stops. And then it kind of has to get momentum to go again. So there's kind of like a slowness of it as it moves back. And then it gathers momentum. And then it's going to stop again. And it's going to keep moving forward. So there's this kind of like forward, backward feeling. And what happens is, it intensifies the feeling of the planet first and foremost. So as I said, that ship that's careering forward, grinding to a halt, and then reversing, it intensifies. So the planets are doing the same thing. The energy connected to it intensifies. But also, because we're talking about something that's going retrograde, it's going backwards, it's not a time for moving forward when it's connected to the themes of that planet, insofar as anything new. But if it's something that you're moving forward with, something that's from the past, then you can do that. It's not that you can or can't do it, it's just that it has a different effect. So what the heck do I mean by this? So for argument's sake, Mercury is the planet of communication. So many of us have heard of a Mercury retrograde. What is it? Mercury is responsible for communication, thoughts, ideas, your speech, how you perceive the world, how you take it in, how you communicate with others, It could be texting, it could be email, it could be the written word, spoken word, your thoughts and how you connect telepathically with somebody. It's how you read the energy in a room. It's your nervous system. So Mercury is connected to nervous system. So anything to do with the hands and the nervous system. It is connected to kind of like your community, your local area, and local transport like bicycles and cars and whatever. So during a Mercury retrograde, you're going to see a lot more issues on Zoom, trying to upload your computer, save files, sending emails. There'll be glitches in your electronics and your technology. You're going to see, it's so funny, I've seen so many cars broken down on the side of the road as well, you know, so all this is kind of connected. So in a retrograde, it's kind of hard to move forward and we have to go back over with. So if you were planning to sign a contract, okay, for argument's sake, this is a very mercurial kind of thing. If it was a brand new contract, brand new idea and brand new something moving forward, if you sign the contract, it's not that it's necessarily a bad thing. It just means that if you sign the contract now and it's a whole brand new concept and idea, chances are you're going to have to come back over in the future and revisit that contract, revisit something to do with that signing of that contract. However, if it was a contract that you're signing from something that you meant to do before and you didn't, and you're going back over and you're doing it now, or perhaps you're revising a contract and you're signing it, go ahead, absolutely perfect timing for it. Or those themes you'll find come up. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. So currently we have Mercury, we have, I have to do my brain now, we've got Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto all in retrograde. That is most of the planets, bar Mars and Venus, all in retrograde at the moment. So what the heck does that mean? That means it's really hard to move forward at the moment. So if you're taking 2 steps forward and 4 steps back, just know that it's not you. You're not going crazy. The planetary energy is forcing us to go back inward. It is forcing us back into ourselves. It is forcing us to go back over, to reflect, to review, to redo, to revisit. And it's actually, even though it can be really, really frustrating and it can feel like, why can't I move forward? I'm doing so much to move forward. The reason you can't move forward and you're not able to move forward so easily is because you're being held back, because you're being made review. You know, if we were just full forward and full tilt for our whole entire lives, when would we go back over and redo things that really should have more time taken to look at them? Now, for those of you who are moving forward and who are careering ahead and everything is hunky-dory and great for you, it might just mean that the planetary alignments are not necessarily affecting you specifically according to your own personal natal chart. So we all have our own planets, as I said at the very beginning. We all have our own natal chart, and what the configuration of that particular chart is affected by these planets basically pinging off our natal chart. So that's why Mary down the road is like, oh my god, I can't cope anymore. And that's why, you know, Gillian up the road is like, this is amazing, I'm getting loads of stuff done, because maybe Gillian isn't being affected by the retrogrades as much. Maybe Gillian has specific planets that are in resonance with what's happening. Maybe Gillian is going back over something she was doing before, and that's why she's now succeeding, because she's revisiting something and she's pushing through with what she's revisiting. For you, maybe it's that you're like pushing forward and you're just not getting anywhere because you're being affected specifically by the planets. Now, I don't specialize specifically in transits or predictive astrology. The astrology that I actually specialize in is more to do with you as a person, who you are in your life. It's a lot more kind of psychological and holistic. It looks at who you are, who you're not, why you're here, what your life purpose is, your soul mission, your strengths, talents, weaknesses, your wounding, and all that kind of thing in this lifetime. We look at career and relationships if they're relevant for your question for the chart as well. And essentially what we do is we show you on the map so you know where you're going, and so that you can get to know yourself a little bit better and have a bit more compassion for who you are and where you're at. So if you're struggling with something, whether it's a repetitive cycle, a repetitive pattern, whatever it is, yes, I do astrology and we can have a look at that, but I also do holistic life skill coaching aside that as well. So the areas that you're stuck in, we'll actually have a look at those patterns, which are really juicy. and we'll get into like what is the gold nugget inside that and what is it trying to tell you. How is it that you need to shift your perspective to a higher perspective to be able to move forward? If you feel like you're a victim of your life, and if you feel like it's all dark and dreary, it's because your perspective is dark and dreary. If you are unable to see the higher perspective and the higher octave of the situation that you're in, if you're constantly reflecting on the victim mentality of what's been done to me and how things are happening to you, it means that you're in a place of you're not shifting your perspective. You need to shift your perspective to get out of that place. So if things don't feel things don't feel in alignment and you feel like, oh, woe is me, and like, how do I get out of this? Then you need to start looking at all the qualities and characteristics of who you are, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? Because it doesn't matter whether you're a total perfectionist. It doesn't matter whether you're the type of person who's dark and intense. It doesn't matter if you're the kind of person who is odd and eccentric and a bit of a quirky personality. It doesn't matter whether you're a freedom lover and you don't want to be tied down. It doesn't matter about all these things. It matters that you own who you are and that you can accept who you are and start to work with that energy. So that's what I do. The retrogrades, really, they come and they go, regardless of if you know about them, they're going to happen. And so knowing about the energy, really what it does is it helps you to feel a little less crazy, okay? But knowing who you are according to your own specific natal chart, that's where we can work with you on a broader life scale to be able to bring you back into alignment and make sure you're facing the right way, in the right career, with the right people, connecting with the right relationships, working on the right skills and talents and all that kind of jazz. So that was a whirlwind trip. I just wanted to come on and share some retrograde wisdom. I hope you're all keeping well. Let me know. I'd love to know in the comments below, are you feeling the retrogrades? Very briefly, I know I'm speaking fast because I'm trying to not make this video long because they're always long. The other themes I've actually put into the post previous to this, but the other themes that are going on at the moment, so we've spoken about Mercury, that's okay. Saturn is all about restriction, authority, it's about time and things that are slow. Like Saturn is the cranky old granddaddy that says if you haven't done your homework, you can't go out and play. So if there's something that you're not stepping up into in terms of responsibility, or if you're not working hard in an area that you're meant to be working hard, or maybe you didn't work hard in an area and now you're having to work hard, or perhaps it's about responsibility and how you adapt and resonate with responsibilities in your life. It can be to do with restrictions. What restrictions are you feeling in your life, and how can you work better with them to get your work done but feel less strain? It's about rules and regulations. It's about top-down authority. It's about structures, government, finance. It's basically like your life lessons and your karma, in terms of not good and bad karma, but like, you know, what you put out, you get back in. This is all very Saturnian. So if you're feeling a lot of the slow down, sludgy, grudgy kind of 3D-ness of that, it's probably Saturn. Jupiter is all about expansion, wisdom, philosophy, understanding, higher mind, learning, teaching, writing, publishing. It's about foreign travel, foreign lands, different cultures. It's about truth. It's about religion and kind of philosophy of different cultures and religion as well. It's a very big, expansive, benefic, good luck, good fortune type of feeling. So when Jupiter is being in retrograde, it's like it's intensified, but it's like inwards. It's all inwards. So you end up having to work on a lot of that inside yourself. Versus it being a very external type thing, which Jupiter normally is. It kind of touches and intensifies. So when it's back, it's kind of intensifying what's happening on the inside for you as well. We have Uranus is the planet of sudden change, sudden awareness, sudden insight, rebellion, revolution, doing things your own way. It's about science. It's about kind of like the new world and how you're going to operate in it. And so if you're feeling that like itch to the challenge against your inner rebel. Like, assess what's your inner rebel doing at the moment. Where are you feeling the itch? Where are you feeling the urge to like change and be different and break out? How's that affecting you internally? Go back over, is that sabotaging you? Is it benefiting you? Do you need to do it more? Do you need to do it less? Just have a look at that inside. Then we have Neptune. Neptune is all about spirituality. It's about escapism, a fantasy. It's about the kind of ethereal world between here and there. And it's very much where we want to escape to, and how we kind of like lose contact with ourselves. There's like a fog that comes down and that causes like deception and delusion that's connected to Neptune. When we're having our Neptune square, it can feel like, you know, why is my memory so bad? Why can't I think clearly? Why can't I see things clearly? And a lot of when we have Neptune in retrograde, we can feel foggy or unsure, or we might doubt ourselves, or we might feel deluded with how we've been and how our lives are. And what is that causing us to do? It's causing us to let go of the 3D world and trust our imagination or creativity, to tap into our spirituality and find the answers that we're searching for. So your inner Neptunian world might be feeling a little bit like vulnerable, a little bit shaky at the moment. And the reason it's doing that is it's causing you to look back over, reflect and reevaluate that part of your life. And then finally, Pluto. I'm Scorpio rising, so I love the Pluto. Pluto is all about life, death, rebirth, transformation. It's about therapy, shadow work, the hard stuff. It's about secrets. It's about digging things up and finding the truth. It's being a detective and figuring out, like, you know, seeing the BS behind everything. And when Pluto is in retrograde, it's like digging deep. It's like really getting into your inner core and figuring out what's happening underneath, what's in the unconscious mind, what's in the subconscious mind that's stopping me from moving forward. How do I, and it's about power versus empowerment. So, or disempowerment versus empowerment. So where do I feel disempowered, and how can I feel more empowered? And how can I step into my empowerment? So it can have, you know, when we're going through these transits, we can feel really disempowered, but actually, what it's doing is it's causing us to like, if everything was rosy in the garden, humans would just be sat around lazing under rainbows and sunset and palm trees, and we wouldn't do a whole lot. We as humans tend to only like move when we feel pain, when we feel discomfort, and that's normally we have to hit rock bottom before we go, oh, do you know what, like maybe I should make a change with my life. And I would say 9 times out of 10, when somebody's coming to see me for Reiki, reflexology, astrology, or holistic life skills coaching, they're doing it because they're like, I can't be coping with going round in circles anymore. You know, if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. And the reason for that is because you need to change your patterns. You need to change what it is that you're doing. And the only way of doing that sometimes is by pain. And the universe tends to bring us into these challenging situations to push us out of our comfort zone and into our higher power. And it's not always nice. When a baby is being born, it cannot be a pleasant process going down that birth canal, having your head smooshed. So that's what we're going through. We're all collectively going through a rebirth, and these retrogrades it's part of that journey, and we get to do it every year, you know. Woohoo! We get to do it every year. All the planets, most of them retrograde once a year. Some of them it takes them a little bit longer, so we might not get a revisit till next year. So anyway, so that's retrogrades. That's kind of like coping with them by knowing what they're about, and it's also showing you that if you want to dive deeper into who you are and how to cope with life in general, not just a retrograde, they come and go. Let's learn how to cope with life itself. Then come book a 2-hour astrology session with me. We dive really, really deep into your birth chart. There is a huge amount of information to take in. I also offer Reiki sessions as well. Reiki is amazing for coping with this crazy ass energy. It's beautiful for literally like bringing you back into your body, back into alignment, back into center, so that you can feel balanced and empowered to cope with the shit that's going on. And then obviously I do the holistic life skills as well. So I do an 8-week holistic life skills course, which will show you all of the tools that you need in your life to take back control. So Reiki is lovely to get it like plugged in, bring it back into balance and center. Astrology is going to show you where you're at and where you need to be going. And then the holistic life skills is going to give you the tools to be able to do it for yourself. So you're not relying on other people or having to like seek out other people to be able to help you, be able to help yourself. That was a long ramble. Thanks for sticking with me. Happy equinox, by the way. Today is the equinox, half and half daylight and nighttime. So we're heading into a new year as such, a new part of the year. And I hope you're keeping well. I hope you're not struggling too much. And I look forward to hearing your comments below or send me a message. Talk to you soon. Bye.